STICKERMANIA from Louisville, Kentucky with Sticker Granddaughter for our usual Wednesday live stream at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, June 12th. The heat wave from California is coming our way. It's supposed to be close to 100 degrees within 48 hours.
Oh my God.
So, summertime for the full force is coming our way. How's everybody going out there? Is it hot where you're at? A couple things I sold that I'll get off the table here today. This sealed mono in Beatles and Mono 2014 box set from Germany. Never been opened. Sold for $1,888 today. And this play tape Beatles 6 in the original shipping box sold for $259 just about an hour ago.
Woofy Baby's Life Loving Records said, "Hi, Frank."
How you doing, Woofy Baby? What's going on in your life? Did you ever play your Let It Be box set? I hope it blew you away. Got another first pressing of Let It Be, not the box set, just the album with the red apple on the back. Probably a mid-1970s pressing from the United Kingdom with the patent inner sleeves and the dark green apple label with 2U in the matrix. In my opinion, this is by far the best sounding Let It Be pressing that'll ever exist. Let It Be is usually not one of my favorite albums, but when I play this record, I quite enjoy it. Something about those first pressings, like they're talking about the Black Sabbath, it's hard to remix and remaster those pressings and make them sound better than the first pressings from the origin country where they were recorded. Talking about that, my Abbey Roads that I had, two misaligned 1969s, and I had a 1973 French contract pressing. Daniel Costello acted like there's lots and lots of Abbey Road pressings. That's true, they sold millions of them, but the collectors want those three I sold. They all sold in 24 hours. The two misaligned apples sold for $277 each. And the French contract from 1973 sold for $199. You listen to one of those and then you listen to a USA copy and there's just no comparison. A few notes. I got down at the grocery business tonight. In the grocery business, my opinion is there's only three things that haven't gone up in price in the last 3 years. That's ramen soup, bologna, and hot dogs. Everything else in the store is higher or downsized. Heard Help by Lennon and McCartney by the Beatles today on the music system and Muzak system and the harmonies, and that Help, all those classics, they still shine through. I'd love to get a sign like a personal check or a check from the late 60s by Lennon and McCartney. I think they'll go down as one of the best songwriting teams of all time. Got a True Stereo CD in the mail today. I've been listening to it in my car. It's called Rarities on Compact Disc by Westwood One. And it's got true stereo of a lot of Beatles songs that you probably have heard, but the Dave Clark 5 on Glad All Over is really great in true stereo. That beat, that thump by those drums It's just amazing, even though I know Dave Clark isn't the one that performed on the drums. It's got Hollies on a carousel, and the Hollies, one other track of the Hollies, Stop, 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 and they really sound good in true stereo. Little trivia question, the Dave Clark 5, Glad All Over, which song did it take off the charts of the Beatles at number 1 to become number 1, and then what song replaced from the Beatles, Glad All Over? Brad Parnell? He usually comes up with my trivia questions. He usually comes in at the last half of the live stream though. Ruby Tuesday, there's a true stereo Ruby Tuesday that really sounds good on here from the Rolling Stones.
Daniel Castillo said I have 3 a minute.
He has 3 what? He has 3 men from the United Kingdom.
I think.
Daniel, you need to listen to a 1969 First Press UK. And that's all I can say, or the 73 French contract. I did figure out what you were talking about on Pet Sounds. The Passion, Carl and the Passions, you're the one who purchases from me. So that's on your way. I don't know if you've got it yet or not. You should get it tomorrow. But the price on that Carl and the Passion just keeps going up. I tried to offer somebody $75 for a nice one this week, and they said they wanted to let the auction run out. So they must know it's going up in value fast. I did buy a Super SA CD from Analog Productions, a Super Audio Compact Disc of Pet Sounds today for $50 on your advice, Daniel, and give that a listen.
And then that Nimbus thing, he was the one that talked about that guy in California.
What's that? Oh yeah, yeah, sorry about last week. I couldn't figure out who you meant from, was buying all my Sgt. Peppers. You meant the man from California, John, that bought my Nimbus Supercut. And he bought my UK 68 pressing stereo that didn't have a day in the life listed on the label. And he also bought a Germany pressing of Sgt. Pepper. I didn't figure out who you were talking about, but I did after the live stream. He also bought a Led Zeppelin 2 hot mix from me and a First State butcher cover. So in one day he spent like close to $12,000 from me and on 3 items.
Oh my gosh.
I had this at my antique toy mall, but I took it. I'm gonna play this in the car. The 2009 remaster of Beatles for Sale. I'm all about now checking all these 2009 pressings and 2012 on the albums. Where's my Sgt. Pepper that I was gonna show? I don't see it. But anyway, somebody from Canada put up an all 2012 stereo of the remastered box set of the vinyl, and I asked them if they were EU pressings from Germany or USA pressings, and they said that he messaged back they were all EU pressings. He had the box opened up and they were mostly all sealed. I bought it right away for $700, so going to test that out and see what everybody's talking about, these pressings from Germany from 2012, that they're audiophile pressings. And this Let It Be Naked, the vinyl version that Rachel Ghost bought from me for $200 lately, has been going for up to $279 for the sealed one. So that's another item that keeps going up in value every week. The vinyl version from 2003 of Let It Be Naked. A few notes, and I'll start showing some more things. Estate. There was somebody bought 21 albums in a estate sale, and they put it on eBay last night for $521. And the pictures weren't very good. They had 21 albums, and one was a yesterday and today. And I took that picture of the yesterday and today, and I magnified it and brought it way up, and I could see the gray border on the top edge of the yesterday and today album, so I knew a butcher cover was underneath it. So I made a $450 bid on it, and then I went to bed and I started thinking about it, and I go, well, what happens if somebody messages him that he has a butcher cover in there? And all bets are going to be off on getting that lot. So I got on my tablet and bought it right away. So I got a stereo West Coast butcher cover coming that they found in an estate sale, and they didn't even know they had a butcher cover. I could tell it was trimmed by the album. It was the cover was above it, and I could see where it was misaligned, where the gray border on the top gray banner was showing through on the yesterday and today trunk slick. So it proves even in 2024, people get a hold of butcher covers and don't know what they have. It's amazing to me. Shipping. Beatles versus the Four Seasons through the regular postal service. I had this double box. I got the box in the other room, that big, thick box. You should see it, but I was going to ship it back out in. But anyway, the box had no damage at all. But they must put some extreme weight on it. There's a crease down here. Let me show you what happened to the records.
This one?
Yeah. So this is what I double boxed it in this big thick box. And they put something heavy, or they really never seen this happen before, but my Four Seasons got a big chunk out of the record. And the Beatles, same thing, same place, big chunk out of the record. Had that returned. Had to replace with different records. Just look at that weight. It's just all cracked right through there. Postal service is a little rough on things, even when you double box them. Put that out in the hallway because of that.
Pick that up.
Yeah, you get little pieces.
Yeah, I'm gonna show this Frank. All right, showed you the damage from the post office. We sent out the butcher cover frame this week. It took us 2 days. It cost $400 of shipping through FedEx, and we had to get some, what kind of ties you call those, cable ties? We had to get something special from Home Depot to strap around the big, large box to make sure that there was no damage, and I had to put it in a great big thick blanket, the frame. And it took us like 2 days to figure it out, but it's on the way to Texas. My Mexico buyers will get it this Saturday. Couple shout outs. Bill and Dave Fraser from the Antique Toy Mall. My regular customers. I met Bill a couple times this week. He bought some expensive items from me. He bought the Something and Come Together pressing from Canada, 7-inch single, where the Come Together was on the A side instead of the B side. Somebody messaged me from one of those slabbing companies and introduced themselves if I was going to have anything graded or slabbed from them in a message this week. Uncle Paul sent me some more records. A lot of Paul McCartney. I sold one lot today. I sold these 3 Paul McCartneys for $79. Somebody from England wanted them. This is the My Brave Face that you sent away. And it's on yellow vinyl. This is a Black Friday picture disc of Home Tonight. And this is a 2012 pressing of Band on the Run, with Denny Lane in there, the late Denny Lane. He also, I bought a signed Monkeys picture sleeve of Last Train to Clarksville. It was signed by Peter Tork, and I sold it right away for $99 with some monkey picture sleeves. Also got these white label promos from Uncle Paul. Mono and stereo of Sgt. Pepper from the mid-70s and from the early 80s. A white label promo of Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney doing This Girl Is Mine from the #2 album, considered now of all time, of Thriller. So Paul McCartney's on the #2 album, Abbey Road, and the #2 album, Thriller, and the #3 album, Abbey Road. Paul's on both of them with the young crowd. That's a picture sleeve for the Sgt. Pepper that came out in the mid-70s for that white label promo. Heineken took it on their own to release a Beatles cassette in 1980. I'm thinking it's 82. I can't see on the... I listed it. Pretty sure it's 82. But anyway, they didn't have permission from Apple to release this. It was called Only the Beatles on Cassette. This is one of the most expensive cassettes there is. Got the original insert.
1986.
1986. Limited time only. You had to pull off so many pull rings on these Heineken cans. And you got this in the mail for, I think it was like $1.50. But they had to, Apple put a cease and desist on this right away.
Woofy Baby Life Loving Records said, Frank, I sent you an email.
All right, way to go, Woofy. So that's the large can, 440 milliliters. This was all from the United Kingdom. Has an expiration date of February 87 on there, and this is the small can. 275 milliliters, and they have to empty these out to preserve the condition of them. Well, that's only the second time I've had this cassette and collecting the Beatles.
Have you ever drank that?
A Heineken beer, maybe when I was younger.
No, like drink a Beatles one.
No, you can't ship the full cans in the mail.
Oh.
So this is a Beatle thermos that I got in. I don't know if I showed in the last live stream, Aladdin 1965 in near mint condition. It's up for sale at $599. But in a couple days for the Saturday live stream, I'm gonna have a new old stock condition lunchbox and thermos from 1965. The Beatles Aladdin, the most collectible lunchbox there is of any lunchboxes, because lunchbox collectors want it and the Beatles collectors want it. And it's rapidly approaching a value in perfect condition of $4,000 to $5,000, if you can believe that, for a lunchbox and thermos. But the glass isn't broken in there, and the bottom hardly has any tarnish wear. This is a nice one. But it's that lunchbox where most all the value is at. Got these in today. 2009 crates. I usually don't buy these CDs from 2009 unless they're cheap. They're playing in my car. But these are like little crates, and they have t-shirts for Let It Be, Rubber Soul, and Abbey Road inside the crate. You can see what the Abbey Road shirt looks like.
I want that one.
You may be wearing it next week, but I don't sell that. I got them up for sale at $99 for the 3. Rubber Soul and Let It Be. David Bowie. Let's talk about the butcher cover first. Remember, we're at 1,640 subscribers, and so we got 360 subscribers more to get to 2,000. Then I'll give away this butcher cover with a 3-part trivia question. It's a stereo East Coast with the purple banner and the remove trunk slick. And the stereo pressing on the East Coast with a small 1 on the label. So I think we're up to like 42% of people that watch my videos are subscribed. If I could only get to 50%, I'd hit that 2,000 subscribers for sure.
Everyone like, subscribe, and hit the notification link, please.
David Bowie. Usually don't go into David Bowie, but I had a chance. This man, I had all these autographs from New York City. Got a Space Oddity, a UK pressing. Real nice big David Bowie autograph. He puts David Bowie 97 on this album cover. This was autographed for the doorman at the Essex building in New York City where David Bowie lived in the late 90s with the model I-M-A-N, however you say her name. Iman. Somebody out there tell me how to pronounce the model's name.
What'd you say?
I-M-A-N.
Oh, probably N.
And I also got this from the same collector, seller, Diamond Dogs. 1974 USA pressing. No, it's airbrushed. It's not the... Once I had a chance to get the real rare one, and it was at $2,000 and it sold right away. So that's expensive to get that first pressing at Diamond Dog. But I also had this, these are pretty rare. Original dog tag for Diamond Dogs, RCA. And a patch for Ziggy Stardust from 1973. It says Ziggy Stardust is a gas. Pretty nice. Any questions about Bowie before I move on?
Not so far.
Both of those are up on my STICKERMANIA 2853 eBay store. Remember, you can send me a message through my Yahoo on my YouTube channel, Mr_STICKERMANIA at yahoo.com. I've had about 5 people message with me with high-end Beatles memorabilia and other groups, and a couple people have messaged me about peeling a butcher cover for them.
Moonbeam Sky said, just joining now. Hi.
Moonbeam Sky, how you doing? You were on here last week, I think.
Yeah.
Good to have you. This Beatles monthly book, this is 73. I have in the mail coming probably tomorrow issues, the last 3 issues, 76, 75, 76, and 77. The last issue of the Beatles monthly, 77, the original one, is right up there with the number 1, the most valued of all the Beatles monthly, because the Beatles were broke up when that book came out. Any more shout outs here? Rachel's Ghost. I'm going to try to get on Rachel's Ghost channel next Wednesday. That would be June, not sure the date now. We had to figure it out. 19th, I think.
Next Wednesday, what's the
Yeah, I think it's the 19th. Yeah, it's the 19th.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to do an interview at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I asked to see if we could get Mikey Arugula involved too, but he said he'd have to see if he could figure it out. I'm not sure. One hand clapping. I've got 2 of those vinyl sets coming on Friday because they come into UPS from England, and I'll be one of the first ones to get it. I have 2 sets with the bonus EP coming, so I'll be able to show that on the Saturday live stream. I know Caitlin Larkin from the Beatles channel got a promo copy and has already shown it. Tony Bramwell, I talked about, that passed away last week on the last live stream. I forgot he was in the Penny Lane promo with Mal Evans. They're the ones that are dressed up in the like George Washington garb costume, and they hand the guitars to the Beatles when they're on the sitting on the table. Tony Bramwell, he's in that video. Talked about the Pet Sounds and the Bowie Kent in Ohio. He's the one that bought my 2014 mono box set, so shout out to Kent.
I'm from Ohio.
Those are most of my notes. There's a big thing going off on Sticky Fingers in about 4 days, but I'll say no more because I'm trying to get a hold of it. Talked about the shipping. I think I got all my notes done.
Freestyle.
All right, Fabulous magazines. These are from 1965. They got some great pictures of the Stones and the Rolling Stones in these, and other groups from the 60s. I got a good one of Paul, and there's Mick Jagger there. These are large format music magazines that came out in England, 63, 64, and 65. Stones in Session, Billy J. Kramer. We saw him at the Fest for Beatle fans last year. He was really good. We're going again this year.
She's pretty.
That was Marine Faithful, where she got mixed up, and Sister Morphine's all about Marine Faithful on the Sticky Fingers album. Jerry and the Pacemakers.
Were they number 1 in your day?
What is that?
Was the Beatles number 1?
They were number 1 in my day, yes. We got the Elvis on the cover of this one of his movies. I noticed in my autograph book the other day, I missed, there's a Tony Hicks autograph towards the end of it from the Hollies. So this girl hung around with all the musicians in London in 1968. You got the Rolling Stones hanging out in their bathing suits. Got Keith and Brian Jones. Charlie Watts in a bathing suit. Up with that down in Australia. Peter and Gordon. You guys all know the story of Paul McCartney living on the top floor at the Gordon's house. And he was Peter Gordon's sister, Jane Asher. Oh, it's at Asher's house. I said that wrong. Peter and Gordon. Peter Asher. Gordon Waller. But that was Paul McCartney's first serious girlfriend, Jane Asher. Cilla Black. She was worked at a snack bar at the Cavern, and then one night she went up there and sang, and then Brian Epstein started pushing her. She did a Paul McCartney song, "World Without Love." No, that was Peter and Gordon. She did It's For You, and she did another Beatles song. The Animals. No, that's not the Animals. I'll get this right. One more. We got the Hollies on the cover. This is the one that's got John and Paul. Great picture. Look at that picture of John and Paul on the beach from Help. Boy, if you'd only had that picture signed by John and Paul, it'd been amazing. Somebody put up a listing. They were a stewardess on the plane that took the Beatles to San Francisco on the last August 29th of 1966 when the Beatles played their last show, and she was selling all her collections. And she had 2 photos that were signed to her from John Lennon and Paul McCartney. And I offered her $1,000 right away for a quick sale. She put it up at a $99 starting bid. And within an hour, she said that the signed photos weren't included in the auction. So I told her, just forget about my offers. That would have been amazing to get a hold of that. You can't win them all. People realize real quick when you start sending messages, they might have something that's extremely valuable. And that was one of them. I showed the Help movie last time. Got my Band on the Run in the shrink. I sold a sealed one of these for $244 a few months ago. And we got the McCartney's great album of McCartney 2 with the bonus 45 in there. That's a strange album, but the more you listen to it, the more you like it. One of those albums like Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. That didn't hit me for a long, long time. But boy, what a great album. I showed the laser disc last time. We forgot to show this Rolling Stones again, this 10. This is the Voodoo Lounge 10 that was in stores. Unlike any place you've ever been. You got the Charlie Watts, the Keith Richards. This must have been from the late 1990s. But exclusively served Budweiser. Budweiser must have been the promoter of that tour. Shout out to Kevin from Kevin Records.
That was my job.
Here in Louisville.
And the rest.
He gave me these to sell in my antique toy mall booth because you can't sell these on eBay. No, that's it. Underground album called the EMI Outtakes. Bye 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 Super Tracks 1. And John Lennon Working Class Hero, a 2-record set with Jimi Hendrix, Chuck Berry, Elton John, Eric Clapton, and Keith Richards. It's on Gold Records. These bootlegs, you never knew what kind of record label they were going to be on. They must have made them in the middle of the night or something at these record pressing plants. Completely illegal.
Moon Beam Sky said, good point about McCartney 2 and Pet Sounds.
Yep. Those albums are great albums, but you don't get it on first. Beatles for sale. I bought a 1976 stereo pressing from the United Kingdom that I got coming in near mint condition. That, according to Pete and George Borden, that is the best pressing ever. Stereo audiophile pressing ever of Beatles for sale. I think it's a, not sure if it's a -1 or a -1, but the mid-1970s pressings that were 2-cut of Beatles for sale. What a great stereo album. That's another album that people don't understand how good it is till you really listen to it quite a lot and you realize it's one of the best Beatle albums there ever were. They were at their peak. I know they were tired and everything on that cover, but they just, out of muscle memory, they performed those oldies and those originals 8 days a week. I Don't Want to Spoil a Party, No Reply, Babies in Black, and I'm a Loser. What a great album.
What's your most expensive thing you got up for sale right now?
Somebody asking?
No, I'm asking.
It is the Sweden ticket from 1963, $19,999 with the original handbill. Magical Mystery Tour, talk about that all the time. late True Stereo, late 70s, 77 pressing from Germany, A1, B3. This one's on the Apple label. Same, made from the same master cut that the Horzu is. Sounds just as good as the Horzu. Might even sound a little better because the vinyl was in. They were using better vinyl in the late 70s than they were in the early 70s. You saw my Paul McCartney sign the Ville Hotel from Miami the day before they performed the second time on the Ed Sullivan Show. I bought this to go on that, but it's a little too big, so I guess I'm going to use a smaller photo. But that's the original fan club card from 1963. These are the ones that Mal Evans and Neil Aspinall had stacks and stacks. So backstage when the Beatles were relaxing, they were signing these left and right with their forged signatures to give away all the demand of people that wanted autographs from the hotel security, the police, all the fans. That almost all, 98% of them were all done by Neil Aspinall and Mal Evans. I had one of these that were signed by all four Beatles, and it was authentic. It had a Frank Casio COA, and I sold it last year for, didn't I sell it for $20,000, I thought. One of these was really, not too many of these were ever really signed by the Beatles, and I sold one of them for $20,000.
Jesus Christ.
Got a couple other fan club items. This is a fan club card from 1966, and it's signed by Frida Kelly. She was a secretary, national secretary of the official Beatles fan club in England. And these are a couple inserts that were in the 66 Christmas greetings, the national newsletter, Christmas 1966. Got Frida Kelly again on there, and Anne Collingham. And another insert that was in that, it says Beatles fan club with compliments of Frida Kelly. Even has the fan club telephone number, a new phone number they had in England that you could get a hold of the secretaries. Any questions out there? Brad Parnell show up today?
I don't know.
Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones. Got another sealed one of these coming in of Some Girls that I just bought today for $120 because the value of the sealed ones just keep going up. This is an open copy, but I have a sealed one coming in of this black and white one. You can see all the faces that Judy Garland and who were the other ones that got real upset? Marilyn Monroe. I know there's a Farrah Fawcett in there and a Raquel Welch. The second version, these were all blank on the ones that didn't get their approval with the Rolling Stone.
Was $4.99 really a sale?
That was the price. That was a discount price in 1978. $4.99.
But was it a good sale?
Yeah, it was a good price in 1978. Let's talk about Sticky Fingers. Sticky Fingers. Can't believe it didn't make the top 100 on the Apple Music's top 100. The only one made it was Exile on Main Street.
Exile on Main Street.
And this is what the kids, the younger generation like, is the Exile on Main Street. This is the first Unipack cover. Real fragile cover. It says Unipack, printed in the USA. It's got the 12 postcards that are all still attached. This is a PR press wheel pressing. The two best pressings on the X Outlaw Main Street are the MO and the CAP, which stands for Capital, because they were both cut and mastered in Los Angeles, and that's where Mick Jagger went to mix the master tapes for a couple months of X Outlaw on Main Street. That's the way to get the best stereo audiophile pressing of X Outlaw on Main Street. And then the pressings that are the best of Sticky Fingers from the USA are the Monarch and the PR. That's what Tom Port likes to buy from Better Records. But I like the UK and the Germany first pressings with the TML, which stands for Doug Sax on there. In my opinion, that's a better sounding pressing. What do you think out there? I got another Sticky Fingers or Let It Bleed coming with the hype sticker. Somebody has one with the other hype sticker that says you can't always get what you want up here in the top right corner. And if you have both hype stickers on there, the value of this album is over $500. You got the original fan club card, and it has the big enclosed poster. On the posters in United States, they say London down here. On the ones in the United Kingdom, they say Decca right there.
What is that?
Any questions on the Rolling Stones?
What's your favorite album?
Of the Rolling Stones?
Yep.
Sticky Fingers. Sticky Fingers is good from the start to the end. That's another album you have to play a lot to really get the songs like Can't You Hear Me Knocking and all those, and Bitch, and you have to play it a lot, but it hits you. Moonlight Mile, Sister Morphine, what a great album. This is a greatest hits album they put out in England, a collection of Beatle oldies. It's a 1969 pressing with the flip backs on the back of the cover. And it's got the right inner sleeve. This is a 1970 pressing because it's got Let It Be on there and McCartney. There's a McCartney album that was released 2 weeks before the Let It Be. Well, that really pissed off the other three Beatles. Collection of oldies.
Yeah.
All right, where are we at on time?
It's 11:43.
All right, talk about some more things. Yeah, talked about Led Zeppelin. I don't know what dropped. There it is.
Aw, you're in trouble.
I didn't drop my First State Butcher cover, that's for sure. It is so old. That's a joke. Got a Led Zeppelin 3. Oh, shout out to my greeting card lady at the grocery store. I got this rack on loan from her where I put my albums in. So if there's a big event at the store where they need, like Mother's Day or something, I have to take it back to the store for that week. Led Zeppelin 3, this is the 2000 classic record pressing that was mastered by Bernie Grundman from the original 3-track master tapes. And this is one of them that he did it right. This one is probably one of the best audiophile pressings ever of Led Zeppelin 3. But it's not a real rock album like Led Zeppelin 1 or Led Zeppelin 2 or Led Zeppelin 4. So it works good with the Bernie Grundman cut on Led Zeppelin 3. Got the spinning wheel, shows Jimmy Page there, and we can show Robert Plant, John Bonham, Robert Plant. When Robert Plant and Jimmy Page were at their peak. You talk about that guitar from John Lennon that sold in Julian's auction last week that he used in the Help movie that sold for $3 million. Can you imagine what the guitar would sell for, the double neck guitar that Jimmy Page plays Stairway to Heaven on. I estimate that has to be a $10 million guitar. Led Zeppelin 2. Somebody's got one in the factory shrink with the hype sticker for A Whole Lot of Love and an excellent condition monarch pressing that goes off in about 4 days. I estimate the final auction price of it to be about $2,500 when that auction ends.
Why's your veins poking out?
The what? What's the name of the record?
No.
I don't know what you're talking about. Here's my Sgt. Pepper that I told you I'm trying to get all the EU pressings of the 2012 remasters done by the same man at Abbey Road Studios. I'm not going to come up with his name, that also did the 2014 mono box set. Maybe somebody out there can answer that question. But this is the made in Germany, much superior to the ones that made in the USA. Originally sold for $27.99 in 2012, and I sold this today on eBay for $99. But I got a whole box set with all the Germany pressings coming from Canada. Should have that in about a week.
I got another question.
Yeah.
What's the most expensive thing you've ever sold?
You've asked that before, I think.
I don't remember.
The Please Please Me, I sold the Please Please Me UK first pressing on the red label, Parlophone label, that was signed in Brian Epstein's record store, and they were on the stairs, and there were about 10 girls in the audience while they performed acoustic 2 or 3 songs, and about 4 girls got a set of their autographs that day on the record. And I had one of them. I sold it last year for how much?
$20K.
$25,000.
Well, it was almost correct.
So it started off in Liverpool. Somebody had it for many years. The original girl that got it signed, and then she sold it to a collector in Canada. And I got it from the collector in Canada, and I had it about 6 months before I sold it.
2 things. Deborah Yeagley said Shane McGee. Sean McGee.
That's the name I was looking for, thanks. Sean McGee.
And Lego Heinsberg, whatever.
He's a master of, Sean McGee is the master of cutting the Beatle albums now. Go ahead.
Lego Heinsberg said, how much for the Bowie?
The Bowie, the signed Bowie,
I think so.
it's up for $444 on eBay. Send me an offer. Send me an offer. I think that's too much. Don't know, I haven't checked to see what the interest in it, but that is a beautiful David Bowie autograph in a black felt marker. And he even wrote 97 under his name.
Because it's 97?
He autographed it in 97 in New York for the doorman.
Makes sense.
All right, we talked about most everything. Couple Beatles memorabilia, haven't shown in a while. Haven't got another red and blue vinyl in the slipcase lately, but the price of them keep going up. This is a CD, red and blue, and sealed in the slipcase. But the vinyl, red and blue vinyl of this CD, of this vinyl box set now sells for about $250. Out of print. I don't know on the McCartney side if that one hand clapping with the bonus EP, the 2 vinyl set, I don't know if it's sold out yet or not. I should check that tomorrow. The Black Sabbath hi-fi that just came out of their first album, is sold out the first 5,000, and now they're selling on eBay in the second market for $150. And they were 40 to begin with just 2 weeks ago.
Daniel Castillo said, can you believe the interview record actually sold?
What's he talking about?
I don't know.
Interview record. Can you believe the interview record actually sold?
Maybe they did an interview and a record.
I don't know what he's talking about. You have to explain that a
Oh,
little bit more.
Harrison's sister interview.
Do you have a certificate, or have you had a look at the autograph? Oh, I was talking about the Bowie.
That's about the Bowie. But not the
I
Nimbus.
bought this from the collector in New York that got this from the doorman. He has a whole bunch of David Bowie memorabilia. I might get hold of some more. He showed me pictures. This is the real deal. I haven't had COA would cost about $200 more if I got a COA with this.
Okay. Do you know what Daniel Castillo was talking about now, though?
The interview I'm not sure
The
what.
Harrison sister interview.
Oh, I saw that All About the Beatles George Harrison interview album. I sold that within the first day at $99. It was factory sealed from '65. I've sold that album about 3 times. There is a lot of interest in that because George Louise was the one that was a nurse for George Harrison when the Beatles first came to America. And then she would go around to radio stations and she would do interviews because the Beatles couldn't do it. She would do interviews talking about her life with George Harrison.
Thomas Jean said, sorry I'm late.
Thomas Jean, sorry I'm late. Abbey Road factory sealed CD. You know, the Sgt. Pepper, the one that was pressed in West Germany, is supposed to be the 3rd best Sgt. Pepper audiophile pressing behind the Nimbus Supercut and the Audio 5, according to Andrew from Polygram Auctions. He says it sounds better than the original UK pressings of Sgt. Pepper. It's supposed to have been mastered from the original master tapes at Abbey Road Studios in 1987, Sgt. Pepper, which would have been the 20th anniversary. Go ahead.
Daniel Castillo said they have an Abbey Road Nimbus? ?
They do not have an Abbey Road Nimbus Supercut. They did mostly classical pressings and a few, I don't know if they did a Pink Floyd. They did a few rock albums, but the Sgt. Pepper, they only pressed, I thought it was 2,000 pressings, and they were $50 each, and you can only get them in a special music magazine in audiophile magazine in England. And twice I've had that album, one sealed and one was open, and they both sold for $7,000. So I can't imagine what the value of it is now.
Daniel Castillo said, Andrew got his sources wrong. I heard you say Nimbus.
On Abbey Road?
I guess.
No, I was talking about Sgt. Pepper. Yeah, Andrew from Polygram Auctions had both the Nimbus Supercut and the Audio 5, and he says it's kind of a toss-up. Some has characteristics, makes it better, and the other one has other characteristics. He says it's a toss-up. It's hard to say what is the best pressing between those two. One was done in '83 in England and '84 in Australia. That was done by the master, one of the top 5 cutting engineers of all time, Don. I'm not going to come up with his last name right now, in Australia. All right, seen this before, sealed Beatles memorabilia from 1964. It was 59 cents. That's the way they sold it in the store. It was hung on a little peg. I haven't sold that yet.
Deborah Yeagley said Bartley.
Bartley, thanks. Don Bartley. Right up there with Doug Sachs and Robert Ludwig, and I don't know who the other two are, the top 5 mastering engineers of all time for rock albums. Hazel Yardwood did a good job on the Rubber Soul. I need to get another pressing of that with a -5 matrix of the mono cut in England. What a way to listen to Rubber Soul. This is my Seal 1978 Rubber Soul that was done by Harry T. Moss.
Harry T. Moss.
I don't know if he's I don't think he's in the top 5 considered of the, but he knew how to master those Beatle albums. And in the late 70s, he mastered them with a little less bass roll-off, so you got a little extra bass because the stereo equipment in the late 70s could handle it, where in the 60s they couldn't. Got my 2 Life magazines. Can't remember the last time I showed these.
Is that him and his family?
Yep, this is when they went to Scotland, and they went down those 20 miles to find his farm. And Paul saw him coming, and he said, "Get the hell off my property." And then he went into his home, and he came out about 5 minutes later, and he said, he apologized, and he said, "You can take pictures. I'll give you an interview." They went all that way to interview him to see if he was still alive after Paul is dead. He knew it was important that he talked to the Life magazine interviewers, and he changed it. But he's got little Mary, Heather, and Linda. That's after he took about half hour after he told off and said to get the hell off my property. Those are and this is the 1971 after the Beatles broke up, and the ex-Beatle tells the story.
That's a baby.
Those are both in excellent condition. I'm selling those 2 together on eBay. Alright, I think I covered everything. You seen my eye posters. You saw my lithograph with Elvis over here. No, there's no Hitler on this one. You know, you got Diana Dors. You got Cassius Clay. Sonny Liston. Cassius Clay, that's who became Muhammad Ali here in Louisville. I should know that one.
Thomas Jean said, was the Lewis Harrison album a radio-produced interview album? Was it pictured in the Beatles and an illustrated record book titled All About the Beatles, Lewis Harrison catalog?
Yeah, it's on the Recar label, and it was called All About the Beatles. It was nothing but Louis' interviews at the different radio stations from 64 and 65. It's got a little insert where you can send away and get some Beatles photos.
Daniel Castillo said, is the interview a good listen?
I might have listened to it 20 years ago. I couldn't tell you. I'm too much into hearing audiophile pressings now of Pet Sound and Sticky Fingers and Abbey Road and Rubber Soul and the White Album and Beatles for Sale. It takes all my time. Interview albums, I don't really cut it anymore.
Daniel Castillo said, I'll take that as a no.
Yeah, well, I listened to it. You know, back in the 70s and 80s, we would watch videos on VHS tape, and we had more time, but, you know, where we live in the social media world, and it's just completely different now. You don't have much time to listen to interview albums.
True.
Unless you're seeing an actual new interview on YouTube of Robert Plant or Jimmy Page or Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, and they're always pretty interesting. Mick Jagger doesn't give too many interviews. He's kind of guarded, I think. He probably only talked to a few people like Jimmy Fallon. Saw this Led Zeppelin remasters CD promo from 1990. Their 4 songs they considered the best at that time was Stairway to Heaven, Whole Lot of Love, Immigrant Song, and Good Times, Bad Times.
Thomas Jean said you sold the interview album for
$99.
$99.
Had it 24 hours. It was sealed most of the way. It had a break in the shrink on the bottom. Alright, I think we're at about an hour. I'm trying to get a heroes and villain picture sleeve that was only, we're supposed to all be destroyed, but some of them made it to foreign nations. So I've been doing a lot more research on the Beach Boys. Somebody put up a Beach Boys collection today. They got a huge collection. They want $49,000 for it. They're in Pennsylvania. And they had all the factory reels except for Carl and the Passions. I thought, well, if you got the whole thing, then you should have had Carl and the Passions too. So I'm not interested in that. All right, until Saturday, we ought to have that lunchbox and thermos. We got another question, Daniel?
Yes, Daniel Castillo said you have the Smile box set. ?
Smile box set. I tried to win the Pet Sounds box set and I lost at the last second, and I do not have the Smile box set right now. But my interest in the Beach Boys is, they're right in my wheelhouse right now. I don't know if they'll last the summer or if it'll last, we'll see. But Pet Sounds just blew me away when I listened to that Carl and the Passions second album. You should really like it, Daniel. All right, thanks a lot for checking with us. We need some more subscribers so we can give away that butcher cover. I got to start thinking about 3 difficult trivia questions about the butcher cover. So make sure you check us out on Rachel Ghost next Wednesday, June 19th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'm trying to get Mikey Arugula. It'll be a barn burner if we get me, him, and Rachel Ghost on the same show. See you later.
Have a nice